we always wanted to create really phenomenal content for the fans on whatever platform or service was kind of in vogue at that point in time. But we really always invested in great content because we just thought there wasn't enough great coverage of the league, and we thought we could fill that void.
As your role evolved from GM to VP to senior VP of MLS Digital, like what were some of the key wins along the way in building out that team and really serving that growing MLS fan base?
Yeah, I think there were a couple principles that really guided us well along the way. One, we always wanted to create really phenomenal content for the fans on whatever platform or service was kind of in vogue at that point in time. But we really always invested in great content because we just thought there wasn't enough great coverage of the league, and we thought we could fill that void. And I think that was very true along the way. So that was always a key focus. And, we had brilliant, really creative folks creating that content, all along. Second was, we always felt like our fans were digitally native from the very start. They weren't used to following soccer on traditional television. They were younger. They were more in tune with the latest developments in tech. And so we had to deliver great products for them, that they expected. And so we had to be kind of on the cutting edge of technology. And then the third was always great because we were younger. We didn't have the hindrances of some of the more established leagues in terms of their rights structures or other agreements. So we were able to do phenomenal deals with, Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and, end in the early days where we were bringing content to these platforms and getting paid for it, in new and interesting ways. And that was always really fun to be out there, doing the business development and cutting those deals. And, frankly, meeting some incredible people who are at all of those companies and who now have, continued to make big impacts on the sports industry over the last decade or so.
I mean, that piece around the partnership with all the different platforms, the social platforms, especially as they were developing video products and looking for content. And you're right, they were going to some of the bigger leagues that had all locked up broadcast deals. That nimbleness and agility that you had helped you take advantage when they sort of pulled back the velvet rope and said, we're testing video on this platform. Hey MLS, have you got video? And you're able to say yes.
Exactly, and we can do a highlight right deal, and we can do a content deal or an output deal, and we can create something new. One of my favorite stories from the early days, we went and we did a deal with Google for a brand new channel on YouTube that we called Kick TV that Google funded largely, and they really invested in it. And it covered the global sport of soccer. But the fun thing for us was, and this just shows you what a different culture it was back then, the league's dress code at that time was suit and tie. So everybody was coming in here in suit and tie. And there was this massive debate as we were building up this big YouTube team in partnership with YouTube about why the YouTube guys didn't have to wear a suit and tie, but everybody else in the office had to wear a suit and tie. And so ultimately, the league relaxed its dress code, but it was only because we'd done this investment deal with YouTube and brought in these content creators who there was no chance, they were ever going to be wearing a suit and tie. But that was just the kind of the world that the league was in at that point in time. Obviously, it's very different now. But one of the funny anecdotes that just happened along the way.